Previously on Brain Dead.
See that? Already ahead. Came right out of the blocks with a winner here, Chris. Now we'll just paste this very carefully into the book. And that's where it belongs. Now this is a loaded handgun. And what we're going to do now is kill ourselves because this is horrible.
Couldn't we just stop philatling?
Too late.
Well, that was a long and very frustrating research session, but I'm done with that now. What's next on the agenda? Alright, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Oh, great. I guess I gotta talk about this, don't I? Alright, let's do this. Alright, Roshi versus Jiraiya. I'm not gonna lie, people, I'm a little bit disappointed with this one because I wanted to be able to rant about it and rip it to fucking shreds, because usually whenever it comes to shit death battles, they almost always involve a Dragon Ball character or a Naruto character. Goku versus Superman, Naruto versus Ichigo. Need I say more? So I was hoping a combination of the two universes that keep bringing us constant non-stop bullshit death battles would give me the perfect death battle to rant and scream about, like Lucy versus Carnage. But sadly, I can't. You know why? Because this death battle was actually pretty good. Son of a bitch. But yeah, in all seriousness though, this was actually a good death battle, all things considered. Not as good as some of their really great ones, but this one was fine. Starting with the matchup, Roshi versus Jiraiya. Makes perfect sense. Though a little bit too basic bitch for me. I've never really been a big fan of, let's take two characters that are basically the same fucking thing and throw them against each other. In fact, if it wasn't for Jiraiya being a ninja, you could have substituted Jiraiya for any wise mentor you possibly can, because the wise mentor master is a cliche as old as time itself, dating all the way back to Yoda, Miyagi, and Obi-Wan. But all things being considered, this was still a fine death battle. At least they didn't put Roshi against some generic fuckstick that blows shit up, because that would have been boring. I hate it when death battle does that. But thankfully, they at least brought in Jiraiya, which was able to change it up so it doesn't feel like the same fucking death battle over and over again, like every other death battle character that has appeared on here. Like when they did Shadow versus Vegeta, that was fucking retarded. It may as well have just been another Dragon Ball character. So the matchup was fine. I'll give the matchup a 9. The only reason it escapes being a 10 is because I feel the matchup could have been a little bit less basic bitch, and they could have found a little bit more ways to make this feel unique. Such as how my matchup for my Blood Royale was Kimimorra versus Ulquiorra. Two characters I'm sure no one ever considered. You know what? I don't know if these two would ever fight each other, and at first glance, it looks like a matchup, but in fact, in terms of power, these two characters are night and day, but when you take more time to look at the death battle in depth, you realize these two have much more in common than you think, and the fight is much more interesting than the reasons you may think. That, to me, is a really amazing death battle. Finding two characters that on the surface are night and day, but when you break it down more in depth, the two characters have a lot in common, despite the fact that they're the equivalent of apples and oranges. And we don't get that. With Master Roshi and Jiraiya, it just felt a little bit safe for me. I understand why, because they've been on a marathon of bullshit lately. Sigma versus Ultron, Lucy versus Carnage. Screw Attack never seems to be short of abject failures and garbage death battles, it seems. But thankfully, it wasn't this one. But again, I'm angry because I wanted this one to be bad, because I wanted to be able to rip Screw Attack another asshole, because people seem to love it. I've been getting a reputation as that trap that goes around destroying Screw Attack and debunking them, but I don't get to do that today because I actually have to praise them for once for actually doing something right. So the matchup, fine. Perfectly fine, I won't complain too much. The analysis, again, very good. Not really too much problems with the analysis. The math was fine, the feats was fine, the scans was fine. The jokes, though, I'm not gonna lie, the jokes got a little bit cringy at times. The only joke that kinda made me giggle was the whole joke about Ben going to the ninja world and learning the sexy jutsu and using it on Boomstick. That was kind of funny, but for the most part, the jokes were just kind of cringy, and they were just the kind of jokes you would expect from just a vulgar 12-year-old. I feel like Screw Attack could have been more creative. And there was one joke in particular that kind of made me raise my eyebrow, wondering what they were thinking, because when you look at it in context, it seems fine, but if you listen to this joke out of context, it would sound incredibly out of place and like something completely different. The joke being, he also never stopped chasing kitties, and he was referring to girls. Now, had there not been any context to that situation, people would have taken that joke in a completely other way, if you know what I mean. So yeah, the humor with this one was just kind of cringy, to say the least. The humor was mostly just a failure and felt very forced. There was one joke that got a slight giggle out of me. The rest was just very painful. Like, seriously, we get a old man Viagra can't get it up joke. Really? Come on, Screw Attack. Surely you could have thought of something a little bit more creative than that. So the humor, I am going to give a 1. And that's not even... No, I'm not even going to be nice about it. It gets a 1. When you write... When half of your episode is filled with jokes and only one of them makes me laugh, I consider that a failure on the same level as the Master of Disguise, aka the quintessential all-time bad comedy. Like, if you want to know how not to do comedy, you watch Master of Disguise, because that whole movie is filled with humor and only one joke makes you laugh, everything else makes you cringe. That was this in a nutshell. The humor was a failure. Screw Attack, whoever wrote this humor, either slap them or fire somebody, because the humor was very cringy. So the humor was a failure. And the main event, the fight itself, it was fine. At first I was kind of concerned because I'm like, oh great, another 2D death battle, perfect. Like, we haven't seen 9 million of those. But it was one of those 2.5 pseudo 3D death battles, and they tried to blur the illusion between 2D and 3D, which was admirable, I'll give them that. But I still think Screw Attack just needs to start going full 3D from here on out. I mean, they don't really have any excuse for it. They have a team of animators, they have a team of researchers, there's really no excuse. Now, if you see a channel like me pulling a 2D death battle, I'm just one guy, so it makes sense that I wouldn't be able to pull off any crazy 3D shit. I don't have the resources to pull that off. But these guys do. And I get some people might argue, well, they only save the 3D death battles for the really big episodes, so therefore it feels special. If every death battle was 3D, then it wouldn't feel special. And you would have an argument there if they didn't break that by having Naruto versus Ichigo be a 2D death battle. That was, Naruto versus Ichigo, one of our biggest death battles of all time, and you don't even go 3D. And there was no excuse not to. I mean, you had 3D game models to work with, okay? There are like, 3 fucking Bleach games and like 9 million fucking Naruto games because the Naruto fans are a bunch of spoiled brats that get whatever they want. Seriously, there's just no excuse for it. Just have 3D, okay? I don't think it's that much to ask for, Screw Attack. So the fight, outside of the animation, the pseudo 3D was fine. The animation started looking a lot better during the middle and end of the fight, and I did like how they represented both characters, and I will admit, Roshi and Jiraiya fighting over a porno magazine is kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, that was like 2 points. 2 points for making me laugh. So, I'll change my final score to the humor gets a 2 out of 10. Still a failure though, but them fighting over a porno magazine is kind of funny. And the fight was fine. They represented both characters perfectly, there was no disrespect. So, yeah. Although it just makes you wonder why when they did Naruto vs. Ichigo did they go out of their way to just disrespect both characters and make their universes look like total fucking shit. It just makes you wonder. And yeah, so fight was fine. It's kind of tricky to think of things to say about this death battle because there's really not a whole lot to hate and there's not really a whole lot to knock about it. Outside of the humor, everything was fine. The result was fine, I'm not gonna lie, I put my money on Jiraiya and lost. That's the last time I ever put faith in any Naruto character that's not Kimimorra because they all fucking suck. Seriously, Naruto can't win anything. This universe fucking sucks. Like, and the Naruto fans wonder why their universe gets laughed at. Because they can't win anything. The only time they do win a death battle is when it's a fluke and Death Battle goes out of their way to fuck it up and hand Naruto a win that in all reality he would never have actually gotten if somebody actually sat down and broke Naruto versus Ichigo down. Now I know I keep bringing up Naruto versus Ichigo, but as I've said, that is their quintessential worst death battle, and it seems anytime a Naruto character is involved, the death battle is guaranteed to be fucking shit. I mean, can you really blame me for pointing this out? I mean, there hasn't been one good Naruto death battle, not one. I mean, hell, when the first Naruto death battle came out with Gaara versus Toph, holy shit, people tore that a fucking apart. They just ripped it to shreds. This is like the one time they got it right. Which is kind of sad in retrospect, but then again, that's not entirely Naruto's fault. Sometimes it's just Screw Attack just sucks sometimes. But this was a fine death battle. I can't really think of too much else to say about it, to be honest. So, yeah, I guess my final score for this will be a very high and very generous 8 out of 10. Now granted, I hate both these universes, and I want to be able to rip it to shreds and tell you how much both these characters and the universes suck, but I can't, and since I actually care about objective, nuanced quality, as well as the facts, I'm not going to let my personal bias get in the way. So yes, I will give this death battle a very high 8 out of 10. This is definitely a lot better than the Sigma versus Ultron garbage we were given. And as for the next death battle,